There's breaking news, Nick.
Oh my god.
Have you heard the breaking news?
No.
So, in the news episode that came last week, we talked a little bit about, like, Easter and Trump and shit. And then this guy grabbed a gun and he tried to shoot the president.
I heard about this.
Friendly fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had the dinner. Mm-hmm. And then all the memes happened. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Moving on. There's other breaking news. Laura Dern series. She is going to play the woman who wrote a think piece about Epstein. They're basically making The Savant about Epstein. Have you heard about this?
Whoa. I know about The Savant and when Charlie Kirk super exploded.
Yes.
They canned it for a bit. I believe it's going to release now.
Yes.
But they said, ooh, we shouldn't make something that just makes light of that.
Yeah, so Hollyweird is developing a series about Epstein, but it's not going to be about Epstein. It's going to be about some random woman who wrote an article where she's like, it's kind of weird what Epstein did, actually. And they're going to pretend that this was the, like, thing that broke the camel's back of the Epstein news becoming big, basically. Because I don't know if you remember this, but before he died, when he was in custody, there was at least, like, 2 or 3 weeks where it was pretty mainstream to be like, oh, this guy's, you know, he didn't act alone. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a sex trafficker who has known ties to Robert Maxwell, OSS. Mm-hmm. Who's the guy that owned Victoria's Secret? Les Wexner. You know, these things came out really fast. But instead of making any kind of thing, fictional or non-fictional, that investigates those connections and what they might mean, we're going to get a show about a woman played by Laura Dern sitting at her laptop going, that's interesting, and doing the TikTok, like, zoom in meme, basically.
Like, so not a show about the survivors, not about the investigation.
The complicit, the co-conspirators.
Yes, or anything, because one thing that is always, like, people always talk about, and I'm in the camp of these people too, is just like, oh, he was a sex trafficker with no clients.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they say. It's like, so who did the children go to? We don't know. It's like, well, actually, if he had a list of people that he had on his plane and made dealings with, maybe investigate those people.
Did you hear about the Netflix doc about Epstein back when they made it?
No.
Like, shortly after his death, like within a year. You know, Netflix does this thing where, like, okay, documentary, and then you watch it and you're like, that was a rice cake. That didn't give me any information. That was just padding the whole time.
It's basically a YouTube video.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And not even as good as a YouTube video, because a YouTube video will, like, put in, like, meme, and, like, you know, they'll do, like, other things to make you laugh, whereas the Netflix doc just has to be dry footage. You know, they're just going to show the figures. They're going to show Palm Beach Pete or Pete Buttigieg or they're going to show that kind of shit, and they're not going to do anything interesting with it. They did an Epstein doc, and the conclusion of the doc is basically like, Jeffrey Epstein, the man who trafficked children to nobody and had a fortune from nowhere and came from nowhere. And it's like, the conclusion, it's hilarious. You come away with it, and it's like, well, they clearly knew they had to do something. And it's like, there's a decision somewhere of like, okay, pretend that we've done the thorough deep dive so that people get it out of their memory. Yeah. And then you watch the documentary and you're like, okay, so one day for no reason at all, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and then killed himself and had a fortune that disappeared for no reason at all and was friends with all of the presidents for no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Same thing. I saw a tweet about this actually with the Michael Jackson biopic. The biopic, as we all know, doesn't get into the allegations or anything, and it ends before that stuff apparently happened, like in the late 80s.
88, I believe.
You should say that number a lot more times. And they just display his father in the movie as this abusive psycho figure, which I think a lot of people drawing conclusions about Michael abusing children. It's probably related to the fact that he was at least physically, like verbally, mentally abused by his father.
His dad was a huge asshole, yes.
And by not getting into any of this stuff in the movie, they're basically saying Michael Jackson was tormented as a child and then grew up to be completely normal. You know what I mean? It's like, well, why did you include that stuff? There's an implicit connection that you are omitting.
Yes.
And it makes it even louder how much you are omitting it.
Yeah. Wherever you stand on Michael Jackson's allegations or like the behavior, it's like you need to address it at some point, or at least when you're making the film, it has to be conscious in your mind when you're crafting it of this that happened because of his past. It wasn't just it didn't appear.
Or even if it's not a causal relationship, it's like, okay, well, at least you could see how this person, like children learn everything from what's modeled in front of them. So if inappropriate situations where adults are being way too harsh on a child or whatever are experienced by this person, maybe they overcorrect the other way and then they make Neverland Ranch and they want to make like paradise, utopia for kids. And whether or not you even believe the sexual abuse allegations, which by the way, if you don't believe them, you haven't read it. Or you either are uninformed or just extremely stupid.
Yeah.
But this isn't about that. There's no integrity from any like kind of media company, which why would you expect there to be? Because they're probably on the list.
Yeah.
Anybody who can make these decisions, like, you know, it's very obvious why they want to suppress this stuff. It's depressing to me that it works. I saw that thing that you might have seen about Google, the analytics, where it's like people Googling anything involving Jeffrey Epstein has diminished by an incredible margin in the last like few months. Like it's already just kind of left everyone's minds. You can't expect people to be continuously outraged forever. Reasonably. Yeah. But you should until you get satisfaction and answers and people are like, I don't care.
Yeah, at a certain point, because they've polled people on the news and they say, like, do you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? And they're like, most of it, like, the huge majority of it is like, no. Yeah. Normies and everybody else are just like, oh, he definitely was killed because he had secrets and people didn't want him to come out. Yeah. So there's a sense of, oh, the government is, like, hiding everything. But then also there's this, like, war weariness of, like, I can't be mad forever. This can't be my, like, state, my constant state, because eventually I'm just going to, like, you know, power down. You can't stay mad forever. This is why, I mean... This is why people like are so forgiving about like all these allegations and all this stuff, and the Max Landises of the world and the Zoe Quinns of like eventually it's like I can't talk about Zoe Quinn for another decade. Yeah, I just can't do it. I don't have the energy in me. She's a stupid bitch, but I can't just like every day. Oh, what is she doing right now? Oh, look at the time. It's time to make fun of a dumb bitch again. No, it can't happen. You can talk all about Jeffrey Epstein, and you can research all this stuff, but it can't be your day-to-day thing. Otherwise, you're going to go insane.
I get all that, and I don't expect people to continue to be mad literally forever. It's just strange to me because a lot of these people just realized a lot of these things. Like, we've talked about this. We've known and been following this since he died, or before, in my case. I don't know about you, maybe?
When he was arrested and I learned about him. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we're 7 years in, almost 8 years deep, right? Yeah. These people kind of just learned because for a long time it was like, yeah, Epstein's photographed with Bill Clinton and Trump and all these connections, but like, you know, he's a rich guy and like capitalism and like, you know, the deep state, not even the deep state. People were just kind of writing it off. And then the Epstein files come out and it's like, oh, he was emailing Clinton. He's like, rape at my place tonight. And people are like, oh, it's legitimized. Oh, and it's like, well, if you have a brain, why was he next to all these people? Like, you should have known. It took literally having emails sent by Jeffrey where he's like, we're going to rape and kill a child tonight. Yes. How does that sound, President Trump? Like, it took that coming out for people to even generally believe that there is a larger conspiracy than just that someone killed him because he had dirt. It's like, it's not just dirt. It's a much bigger network. That was all super obvious to me. But people literally need the written proof. Yes. It's new. Sorry. So it's news to them, but they're already over it. Does that make sense? It's so short term for a lot of people.
I guess so. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And in the past with like, you know, the WikiLeaks, like the DNC Clinton emails of where there was like some subterfuge of like, hey, can I give you $10,000 for a bunch of hot dogs and pizza and like coded language? I have a pizza related handkerchief. A lot of people are like, this is like too over my head. I'm not going to get myself involved. And then when Epstein is like, hey, by the way, I loved raping. Can you get me more young girls who are underage to rape? And then people go, oh, I understand what that is now. And it's like, They don't want to make any like mental connections beyond, oh, those are words that I readily know.
They're like, when there's smoke, sometimes there's just smoke without fire. And it's like, when has that ever been true?
No, that's not true at all. Yeah. So coded language is one thing, and like conspiracies of just like, what are they possibly saying? 90% of people are just like, I can't. Yeah. The unwashed masses are like, I cannot bring myself to even like connect a couple synapses to form any thought of what they could be talking about. They need it explicitly written out. This is why those like TLC Netflix documentaries are basically like, he's the evil bad guy. He did all the rape and stuff, and then he was connected to the people. Okay, that's it. It's like, well, maybe can you connect?
And that's where it ends.
Can you tell me like what a little more about that? Can you go more in depth about maybe who these people are, what they stand to gain from this, and like a culture of like people in power abusing power in certain ways? What are the connections? And they're like, no.
Going back to Who Took Johnny, there is so little known about the actual case, like to the people people involved. There's so little known. It's just such an enigma. But when you watch that documentary, from the information presented and the order it's presented in, pretty much everybody comes away having a very clear view of what probably happened and a general understanding of the Franklin scandal and how Lawrence E. King is a definitely who did it. Like, we all know. Like, that documentary isn't like overwhelming amounts of information. It's very sparse. It's like, here's what these few witnesses, here's a few things I saw, and it's enough for you to go, yeah, I have a brain. I can tell what happened.
Yeah.
You really can't make a piece of like the YouTube documentarians have done it, thankfully.
Yeah.
People are doing it, and the problem is though, like most people are not watching the YouTube documentaries. A lot, like we think of it, like we live this way, so it's normal to us. But most of the people that exist in any generation before ours are getting their information from the major networks and Netflix and that kind of shit. So it's like they're not being fed anything actually telling them what's going on.
Yeah, there are some well-written, well-researched documentaries on YouTube made by people like you and me. They're not networks. They're just like, hey, I was interested in this and I made calls.
I did the deep dive.
I did the deep dive. But then alternatively, for every one really good, like, deep dive documentary, you have like 2 or 3, like, true crime mukbangs. We're talking about the kid who got like raped and beheaded, and she's eating like lobster tails. And this is a real thing that happens. I am not taking the piss. There's a woman, and I forget her name, but she's really famous. But she always does these things. She's like, this is like so scary, guys. Can you believe this? And she's just like eating sushi. This is completely disrespectful. Like,
well, you could get worms. That is dangerous.
Yeah. No, just oh god. I mean, YouTube is a crapshoot, but I feel like if the documentaries are just of such a higher caliber now compared to anything that lands on HBO Max or Netflix, the ones made for those.
Anyway, Nick, do you want to transition to a worse sound quality and do a content ambush?
Absolutely. Capture! Content ambush, everybody. We thought about this late one evening. And we thought, what would it be like if we just ambush the other person with something that they probably don't want to watch, but they have no choice but to submit to our big veiny will?
Yes, indeed. Instead of subjecting ourselves to something we agreed is probably going to hurt us both, we get to surprise the other. You don't get to consent fully because you don't know what you're in for. So it's kind of like they're content ambushing you.
Kind of like you're ambushing me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought long and hard about what I was going to give to Caleb here. And there are a couple of things I know about Caleb. Caleb is very musical, knows stuff
Angelic.
You are certainly that. You know a lot about music composition and what makes a song good. And you know a lot about music history, more than I do, because I'm not super into music. Like I listen to it, a lot of the time. But if it went away tomorrow, I honestly could go on.
And stay tuned for our music recommendations in a few weeks.
Fuck music. But I thought, how could I torture Caleb, or not even that, show him something music related? And then I remembered something. A couple months ago, we decided to turn on this movie called Kick-Assia.
Oh, no.
And Caleb definitely knows what that is, and maybe a couple of you would, but there's a guy on YouTube called the Nostalgia Critic. And he has made several movies, a lot of them over 3 hours long, and they're terrible, but he did make a movie. He also made something else, Caleb. Less than a third of the length of Kick-Assia. Nice. This is only 40 minutes, but I have a feeling like it will go on for an eternity for you.
No.
I haven't seen this all the way through, but it wouldn't be an ambush for me. You're getting super ambushed here.
Okay.
So a couple years ago, the Nostalgia Critic decided I'm going to make a parody review of Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh.
Amazing album. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this fully animated, and I'm going to do every song full length.
So I avoided this. This was big on the internet when it happened. Everyone hated it. This was like the Shelby Oaks of whatever year that was, 2019?
Yes, this was the video to make fun of.
Yeah.
Everybody said, why did you make this? This is probably the dumbest thing. It's not funny. You're a terrible singer. Yeah. But I thought Caleb will enjoy this. And I tolerate Nostalgia Critic. I don't really like a lot of his stuff, but it would make me laugh. So I want to see it. Yeah. But you're getting ambushed, buddy.
This is a double ambush because, number one, whatever this is, I'm going to hate it on its own artistic merit or lack thereof. But not that I'm like a huge fan of The Wall, but The Wall has a couple songs that I do like love quite a bit. I mean, they're the ones that everyone likes. I love Mother and I love Comfortably Numb. You can tell how much I love it because I can't think of the fucking names. Anyway, I like Comfortably Numb. I like how it was used in The Departed, which is how I discovered it. So I like The Wall. I've heard The Wall. I own The Wall on iTunes. And I've listened to it many times, although not for a long time. So I like the album that he's about to rape. And I also hate being raped by this fucking I hate Doug Walker.
Hey, you're not getting
He's the
raped.
John Green of movies.
You're getting ambushed.
That's right. It's just an ambush.
You're getting anally ambushed.
I'm being ambushed in my ass with AIDS by Doug Walker. He looks like Greg Daniels, by the way, the guy who made The Office. He looks like Greg Daniels and John Green had like a child who was also older than them. He looked like he was 50 when he's like 30s. He looks like he's 60 now. So how old was he when he was popular?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he had to be 30s or so. He's probably like around 50 now. Same with Angry Video Game Nerd. But Caleb, I feel like you're going into this very, very haughty, very confident. My friend, it is way worse than you could possibly imagine.
Fuck. I hate the nostalgia critic when he's good. Like, I don't like, I know that, wait, are you a fan of him?
No.
Did we talk about this?
I respect him in the sense that he can roll with the punches, but I don't watch his stuff now.
He's not Stuckman.
No.
He's not Z tier, but I don't like him. I don't like what he does. I find his humor to be, like I mentioned previously that I was a big fan of College Humor, but the big fan portion of my fandom of them was sort of short-lived because once I watched things that didn't have the same like 5 people I liked, I was like, oh, most of this is just, it's like, I'm random. And I find Nostalgia Critic's humor to be almost entirely just, he just says random shit. And there's a lot of, and it's also like your sound is some of the worst sound ever. Yeah. You don't have a microphone, you just use camera audio. So as a person who judges heavily on how much effort people put into things, I'm like, dude, fuck you.
Yes, he's a pretty incompetent filmmaker. But thankfully for The Wall, I mean, he's just doing sketches, which is his specialty. I mean, they're not exactly funny. Like, he'll just do a drunk accent in his old videos for like 5 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And it's like, the bit is done, Doug. Yeah. We can move on. The album at least holds him accountable that he has to just do a parody and keep the ball moving.
Yeah.
Which is good. But that means you get more dog shit per minute. So, Caleb, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to be ambushed. So we just watched Nostalgia Critic's The Wall review, 38 minutes.
Basically without the ad break in the middle.
Yeah, without the really, really long ads.
Yeah.
We watched The Wall. Now, you said something kind of interesting that I wrote down. About a quarter of the way in, you said, it's interesting because Nostalgia Critic, you can tell that he's trying really hard, but he just doesn't know what he's doing. And that after 2 decades of doing this stuff, he hasn't really learned. When you said that, it's really interesting because I was at that moment, or maybe just before it, having this thought in my head that was kind of the opposite, where I thought, wow, you can tell that he's done this long enough that he knows what is supposed to happen, but he's just not trying at all. And it's kind of interesting because you really could interpret Doug Walker's work both ways. Sure. You could interpret it my way, that I think that he just is really lazy. He knows what should be there, he's lazy. You could also equally as validly come away thinking he's really trying, but he's just so bad he can't pull off stuff that 12-year-olds do.
Yeah, there are 2 levels of incompetence there. There was a part, I'd say 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through, where you went silent. Yeah. Like, I was saying things and you were just kind of like at a canted angle watching the TV and just kind of like mouth agape, hand pointing towards like you're weighing something.
Yeah.
A moral quandary of whether to kill me like an ape tonight.
Yeah.
And I really do like that because I didn't feel the same way, but I understood where you were coming from, and I'm probably going to feel the same way when you ambush me with whatever you have.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, you just feel bad at a certain point. You're like, Doug, why did you decide, first of all, to make a review of Pink Floyd's The Wall like at least 40 years after it came out?
Talking about it as if we all know. That's the weird thing. You can review old stuff, but this video assumes that you not only know the album and movie, but that you know it well enough that they can do really obscure, I don't even know, I want to call it recreations, but like they're banking on doing these recreations or parody, I guess, of the Wall movie that are so bizarre and just unintelligible that as someone who knows the album but hasn't seen the film, I know what the film's about. I know the broad strokes. I've seen clips. As someone who knows the album and generally the story of it, I was extremely confused what they were even talking about for 90%. And this video is made to assume that you know the Wall and you know it so well that you can watch their like weird 3D chess cat porn video.
Yes.
And understand whatever I don't know if that was even a critique or if that was just a comedy bit. I don't know what that was.
See, that's a running problem with Nostalgia Critic is he'll do bits for way too long for things that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah.
And people, I don't recommend you watch this even as a meme.
No.
But there is a point 2/3 of the way through where they just have like 3D animated, like sexy humanoid cats.
Yeah. Do you remember that video I showed you of the AI, or not AI, it just looked like AI, but it was like that weird mod in Fortnite where everyone was like a sexy cat furry?
No. I actually don't.
Well, anyway.
But
this did happen.
Okay. This isn't a dream you had last night or a video you watched.
Didn't we talk about it on this podcast? You watched it, right?
A sexy Fortnite cat?
There was that clip of Mark Wahlberg jumping on a plane, remember? And then there was another... You don't remember this at all?
Don't actually.
Whatever. It might have got cut out, so who knows if the listeners know what the fuck I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyway, someone made some mod in Fortnite where everything, it wasn't like pornographic, but it was like this video. It was like The Wall, where you're like, well, this has a sexual energy.
There is an oddly sexual energy. Like I said, I know the songs from The Wall, the album. I've never seen the movie or visualizer or whatever it is. But I'm pretty sure the sexy cats aren't in it. Because it is way too well animated. And also, I know a little bit about like how long animation takes.
Yeah.
And if you're commissioning these people who are definitely like furry porn artists, there is no way they are not. If they're getting commissioned for 10 minutes of work where the character is rigged and moving, that had to be fucking expensive.
To someone who hasn't seen it, it's kind of like if you've ever seen footage of those really bad mid-aughts, like non-Pixar movie, like Food Fight. Mm-hmm. This has very like Food Fight, The Incredible Bulk, Neil Breen, if you know any of these references. It's in that world where you're like, well, to my eye, not really knowing about animation at all, never trying to do it, it looks like something that I think if I applied myself, I could have this result after a couple days. Mm-hmm. Novice, I could do this.
It's not polished at all.
Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is really hard to do, but it looks like bottom of the barrel trash. And it takes up such a large portion of the review. I asked you during it, I was like, what do you think this is supposed to... Because like, I am pretty sure there aren't just like weird, sexy cats in The Wall.
Probably not.
So my best guess is this has to be some kind of parody allegory for something, some tyrannical figure. But also Doug Walker is playing like a Hitler tyrannical figure. So I don't know what the sexy cat was. Is that a representation of the devil, of temptation? Like, what was that? She's red.
Probably is not.
She has Rosemary's Baby eyes.
She does. She looks like a Harlequin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way she's like multicolored. She's like red and white.
Yeah.
And she has like a very like trickster look.
Like devil on your shoulder character. But I don't know what she was saying. I couldn't follow any of the lyrics.
Yes, the audio mixing and the lyricism is unfollowable. And we say that a lot. Like we said that in Alto Nights or Gaudy or Cats, where it's like it's literally unfollowable. This is another example of we're paying attention. We're not really that fucked up.
Yeah.
Like we definitely can't drive right now. But we were paying attention and trying to understand what Doug, I think it's mostly Doug on vocals, was saying. Most of his stuff is just, this song is bad and it's boring and stupid. And it's like, okay, well, what are you actually saying? But he just says that for every verse.
There's no real critique. I was also, another thing I was confused on. This isn't even me being like angry at it. I'm just confused. I don't understand, Doug. It plays as if he's pointing out how it's actually very hollow and vapid, has no meaning, etc. Every single song parody is basically like, he's singing the melody of the song, but every lyric is just, this is really heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But then at the end, the guy's like, you didn't even review the album. And he goes, yeah, because it's like, it's pretty good, but it's, maybe not as good as everyone thinks. So if that's your genuine thought, why did you think to make this? Because watching it, it's not funny, but there is no critique. There's really nothing. It meets in the middle of nothing. It doesn't really have anything to actually even shit on The Wall about. But it's done with this tone of shitting on because isn't that funny? That's what internet reviewers do. They shit on things and make fun of it. Why did we sit through this? You don't seem to even care about the wall. You did a bad job recreating the music. You did a bad job singing. You did a bad job writing the lyrics. This is like first draft lyrics. This is, I think I don't remember what it was, but I said something while we were watching about how like Weird Al's kid would try to do this if they were like a nip, but like this is very level 1 idea lyrics. It's, what was it? Oh, Comfortably Numb. It's called Comfortably Dumb. Like,
whoa,
oh my God.
That's literally the first thought you have when you're just like, what am I going to parody?
Yeah. You don't even write that idea down. You go, okay, wait, I need to think of a good idea so that someone, if I die right now and someone finds what I'm writing, they won't like shit on me forever of being the most But he is. Doug is.
He is an RF.
Anyway, the cat thing is so bizarre that it kind of broke the spell, because the first half of this is kind of the first half of The Wall. They do all of the big songs. They didn't do Mother, actually, I don't think. They do Hey Now, which is a huge song, maybe the number 2 or maybe even 1. Probably number 2 after Another Brick in the Wall. Most popular song on the album. They cover that for like 30 seconds. Then they do like fucking all of Comfortably Numb. And then about 20 minutes into the video, it's just like, all right, furry porn for the next 15 minutes.
Yes. Authoritarian themes. And I know Roger Waters, he has this like pseudo-Nazi uniform that he comes out on stage even to this day. And it's really funny to see like new people who are discovering music for the first time. He'll come out on stage with like the armband that I think just has an X on it, but is supposed to, resemble a swastika. And he'll just shoot like a flamethrower. And some 13-year-old is like, he's pretending to be a Nazi. He's a literal neo-Nazi chud. And it's like Roger Waters. Yeah. No.
I saw a really funny video of him in that like SS uniform. He's dressed like Richtofen from COD Zombie.
Yes, basically. He is.
He's like exactly in that outfit.
Pure Hugo Boss outfit, yeah.
He walked on stage with, it must be a recreated thing. It can't be a real MP40, but he walks out with what looks like a real MP40 and he starts firing. They're blanks, but he's firing at the crowd and people clipped it and were like panicking. They thought there was like a shooting happening. That was years ago. But yeah, that's that thing where like young people are like, oh my God. Roger Waters is an outspoken liberal. Yes. He actually is too liberal for the Young Turks. He called them the young fucks.
Dude.
Which makes him cool and based.
Nice.
But he's I remember my mom told me, my mom and her brother are Pink Floyd fans, and they've been to at least one, if not a few concerts of his.
Nice.
Of Roger Waters, because the band broke up. And I remember her telling me that she went to one, I think it was during like early Obama years, and he had a screen behind him that when he was playing, I think, songs from The Wall, it would just show footage of like terrorism and just general like violence, and then just have George Bush like half opacity over all the images.
Whoa.
And it wasn't like really making any specific statement. It was just like death and George Bush and
he present, he do it.
Yeah. It's like, okay, again, like level 1, kind of corny, like didn't come off as profound or as cool or edgy. It's pushing the envelope as he probably thought it did.
Stuff like that reminds me of how like Jon Stewart now is doing The Daily Show like only on Monday or something, but then the other anchors are just doing like way like lesser value content. Yeah. That is what I consider like the second tier anchors on Daily Show do, where it's like, oh, guy in charge is bad. Whoa. Yeah, Meanwhile, Jon Stewart is like, well, actually, if you look at the, he's like elevated at least a little bit, like one level above.
I need more meat on this bone.
Exactly. Like he's doing smart, like, critiques, but Doug Walker is the B team of The Daily Show.
Here's my take.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm not like a Floyd truther where it's like, actually, he deserved it because he was like a minor convict or whatever.
Floyd truther.
It's interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Caleb.
It's just really interesting.
Caleb, this might be the only time in the world that in a podcast episode people have mentioned Nostalgia Critic and George Floyd.
I give The Wall a question mark out of 200. I really don't know how to review this Nostalgia Critic thing, because even though I watched it and I was paying attention and I wasn't that drunk, like these were optimal circumstances. Besides being stone cold sober, these were, for our situation, pretty optimal to understand what you can from something that's bad. I don't really even feel like I understand how I feel about it. I didn't like it, but I'm not mad. I'm just like perplexed. I'm like, what? What am I looking at?
If I could give it any compliment, it's that I feel like it at least felt like the length of time that it said it was. Sure. Because sometimes we watch something that's like 90 minutes And we're just like, oh my God, this feels like it's been 3 hours. And we're halfway through. When we were halfway through, we got the honey ad. And I said, wow, this feels like we're probably halfway done. And we were.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, we are moving along. It's not really dragging because it is going at the pace that the songs need to go. Like, he can't just do his 5-minute, like I said, drunk accent. Where he's just like, what? And it's like, there's no bit here, Doug. You're just milking it dry.
Yeah.
He can't milk it dry because things need to happen. So that's the one compliment I can give it, is that it felt at least the length of time that I thought it was going to be.
It's not good, but it is less egregious than other things that are more popular.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yet it is like the worst thing. It's really hard to explain. It's when I was watching, it's terrible. It's really badly made, but it's not as offensive as many other things that are made with as much laziness, if not more, by people who are in a position where they should be putting in much more effort. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
It is not the worst thing we've ever reviewed on here. That goes to Tiny Furniture by Lena Dunham, where it's like, why did you even make a movie? You genuinely hate the medium.
Yeah.
But it's an okay watch. It's not a good time.
No.
But it isn't something where you're Clockwork Orange holding your eyes open like, ugh!
You won't be harmed by it.
No, it's one of those things like we were drinking and we were just kind of sitting and just commenting on it. Like, I cannot believe he is doing this right now.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. This is awful.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a good time to like watch you react to it.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted. That was my success of, I want to see Caleb be like, I get it.
Do you think if you were hanging out with a group of friends, do you think this would be funny to show your friends as a surprise, as an ambush? If you were to ambush a group and be like, guys, let me put on a few minutes of this. Is there any circumstance where this is a fun, ironic watch? Because it's obviously boring.
I would
to watch alone.
That is a good question. I would say that you would have to know who the Nostalgia Critic is beforehand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like, oh, it's just a making bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you know, I showed you Kick-Assy and you said, what is wrong with him? and then I'm just like, well, there's a shorter thing that I think is a little more focused than Kick-Assy that you may find interesting called The Wall.
Yeah.
I think you need to have some pre-knowledge. You can't go into this blind. You can't show this at the girls' party. To our younger sisters listening.
Nick, can you imagine women watching this video? Anyway, sorry, go ahead. That's just really funny.
There's maybe at least
bachelorette
one.
party.
The bachelorette party, just watching Doug Walker's The Wall. Like, I hope you get divorced, you dumb bitch. This is the stupidest thing you could show us. We want to have sex. We want to be in one of those dancing bear videos.
You're going to say, Caleb, how'd you do it? Here's the answer, Shia LaBeouf. Go ahead, Nick.
I mean, what do I say to that? Sure.
You were asking a question about pornography, I think.
Okay.
So Nostalgia Critic, The Wall. I got ambushed contently. As far as rape goes, this was like consensual rape. This was like consensual non-consent. I did not hate my experience tonight. I didn't like it. I won't watch it again. But while I was watching it, time kind of flew by. I kind of feel like a woman who got but was able to
oh my God
during it.
That's so true. Wow.
And that audio exists forever now. you can make whatever you want.
I'm glad I didn't talk over that so we can clip it. And that's going to be every single soundbite we use from now. So, Caleb, thank you for subjecting yourself to this content ambush. Yeah. Now I am very nervous for what you have in store, so I'm going to sit like a polite little schoolboy and hope to God that this isn't worse than The Wall, but I have a feeling it is going to be.
You're about to suffer big.
Oh, no.
Time jump. So I was Googling it for a second, but then I realized I think I know enough to at least introduce this to you.
Okay.
I really don't know the proper way to break the news of what you're about to have to go through.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to try to do it in the most gentle way of possible. Gentle of ways possible.
The most gentile of ways.
The most gentile way I can. Because you're about to have a terrible time.
Caleb, no.
So this idea, the whole idea of what we're doing right now was kind of birthed through me seeing that this existed. I was and I texted you. I said, Nick, I just found the most up fucking LGBTQ nonsense. And you guessed. You're like, can I guess what it is? And you sent me this thing that was even more up and up than I.
Oh, thank God that I predicted the worst.
What was it? Something trans?
It was this trans movie that just came out called Castration Movie or Castration Tapes.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours.
It is 4 hours. It's going to be on Criterion, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is this like trans movie about like a sex worker in like Vancouver, BC.
Yeah. And
it seems gay. And I didn't want to watch it, but I said, Caleb, I saw noise about this online where people with terrible hair dyes and hygiene were saying this is 5 stars.
Yeah.
Is this going to be it? Because it's 4 hours. And you thankfully were just like, no, it's going to be under 2 hours at least.
I was very proud. I felt like a father who had a career or at least a reputation in high school, let's say, of being a really good basketball player, watching his son just shoot free throws. I was like, oh, I'm very proud that you thought that could be it. That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Or at least deep to me. But no, it's a more normie thing.
Okay.
So the thing that I saw online is not the thing you're about to watch, but it is related.
Okay.
I saw an ad or like a poster for this comedy special that I didn't know existed. That when I saw it, I was like, wait, that can't be real. Do you have a guess?
No, but you said comedy special and I'm getting really nervous. I'm getting goosebumps.
So I was afraid I didn't want to tell you. So we're about to watch something on Netflix.
Okay.
I didn't want to tell you even what service it was on, because the whole point of this is that we're doing things that aren't like actual movies. And what is on Netflix besides actual movies that is short form besides a miniseries or it's a comedy special? And obviously I'm not going to make you sit down and go watch a 5-hour miniseries, right?
Yeah.
So I saw a poster, I think, for a comedy special that was a collection of like, I think trans or like, or like gender queer comedians. Don't worry. Okay. That's not what we're watching.
I'm freaking out already.
And it was called Hannah Gadsby's Gender Bender Surgery. I don't know what it was called.
Oh, her.
Gender Agenda Comedy? Hannah Gadsby's Gender Agenda. I think it was what it was called. I'm doing this off the dome right now.
Okay.
A little drunk. And I saw that and I said, hang on. So Hannah Gadsby did more comedy because as far as I know, she did some comedy and then she went away. Mm-hmm. And I saw this thing and it's like her and all these other not straight people doing comedy. And I was like, woof, well, who knows what that could be, but that would be a bad time. Then I thought, what would be evil? What if I sat down and I made Nick watch what is widely regarded as the worst stand-up special of the 2010s, Hannah Gadsby's Nanette? Do you know what this is?
I know what this is. Is that your choice for me?
Yes. We're about to go watch Hannah Gadsby's Nanette.
God damn it.
This is an Emmy winning. It won the Emmy for Best Comedy Special. I think it has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is so overrated.
Critic score.
Yeah.
Audience score is like 26. It is regarded by anyone with a brain in their skull. It is regarded as one of the most like horribly conceived anti-comedy actions ever done. Hannah Gadsby is a genderqueer, ADHD, autism diagnosed Australian who did comedy from 2006 to 2017. Then in 2017 said, hang on, going on stage and talking about like trauma is actually more lucrative than doing humor. So I go do that. I call it Nanette. This came out, got rave reviews by people who felt very guilty and were very sad that Trump was president. And they wrote articles gassing this up like it was brilliant. I've never seen it. I've never seen a clip of it. I remember intentionally avoiding this because my mental health was so bad in 2018 that I was like, I can't handle it. The leather special killed me.
Oh,
I can't do more of this. I can't do this one shit. I forgot about her. I forgot about everything related to her went on with my life. I saw this clip for this new gender. She's just like, oh shit, this worked out. I guess I'll do more comedy now. Mm-hmm. She's done apparently multiple specials since, but the crown jewel in her career is still Nanette. And I said, I want to watch that.
We might die.
We might die.
Caleb, this is really bad. Mm-hmm. This is going to get dangerous.
Yes.
I'm going to get sexually violent on the closest person to me.
We lock up your guns before we start this. Or we're going to go downstairs and start
You cannot lock up enough. It is going to be detrimental.
I'm going to put one of those like Hannibal Lecter guards on your face. And
so I can't spit or bite.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Are you excited for what you're about to have to go through?
Ooh, that is a choice because I have never seen this. And I've only heard bad things about it from people who I trust. Oh, we chose well. I'm going to kill you tonight. You were dying.
No.
You were super dying.
No.
This is going to be...
No.
I hope you've had a will notarized, buddy. It's over.
I've done enough. We stand up, we breathe some fresh air, we watch Hannah Gadsby, and we come back and report.
Oh, God.
Okay. We finish our drink?
Mm-hmm.
This bottle was new when I got here. Look at how gone. Look at that. See that? Of Jim Beam. You're drinking
Jameson straight.
And you were telling me that the papyrus font was used, just like Avatar, for Jim Beam.
I did not say that. It's okay. I have to watch Hannah Gadsby, so I'll kill you later. All right, folks. See you in a bit.
Nanette.
We're going to push past Nanette for a second. I dropped a bomb on Caleb that I knew Mary Kay Letourneau's daughters.
Yeah.
And went to school with them. Georgia and Audrey Falau by Billy or Philly Falau, whatever his fucking name is. He's like Samoan or some shit.
Woman who raped.
She super raped. Not great. Kind of a celebrity in Washington State. I didn't mean to rhyme. My dad at the pickup... like one day talked to her accidentally. He didn't do it on purpose, but someone came up and was like, yeah, what kid is yours? And like, oh, that one. And she's like, started dripping.
Which one is yours?
Yeah. But my dad was like, why? He was thinking, he's like, why is everybody else ignoring you? And he's like, oh, that's Mary Kay Letourneau.
Oh my God.
So yes, Mary Kay Letourneau, her daughters were the same age as me. One of them, at least one was older than me by a year. But I was the same year as Georgia.
Whoa.
And I can post this online. I can post evidence that we were the same year. We went to all the same schools until high school.
Okay.
I have definitive proof.
Okay.
Not that it mattered. By the way, I want to actually defend them for a second.
Yeah. Go on.
There was a TMZ video where they had that stupid fucking and everybody else in the studio who was like, yeah, so we got Georgia and her boyfriend shopping out at these places in California. And it's like, leave them the fuck alone. Georgia and I were not friends, but I'm going to defend her because she did nothing wrong. It was her mom who was a rapist.
Yes.
You should not be following her around, the daughter, as a paparazzi, taking photos of them just enjoying their time. They are doing nothing wrong. They're victims of circumstance. So if this can be like a mea culpa or whatever of me expressing any type of guilt, this is my truth. If you're a paparazzi, leave them the fuck alone. We watched Hannah Gadsby.
You fucked Mary Kay Letourneau.
I did not fuck Mary Kay Letourneau. She did not fuck my child penis. She did not fuck my normal penis.
So I ambushed you with Nanette. We just watched it. It's an hour and 10 minutes long. Very long for how little there is going on in it.
It's almost twice as long as Nostalgia Critic.
It was very long. And also it took us even longer because there was a couple pee breaks and a couple Playboy breaks. You got some Playboys in the next room. They're pretty cool.
In the same room.
No. The other room from where we are right now.
In the goon room, aka the watch room.
We watched this in the goon room, and we gooned, and we watched Nanette. Okay, so I told you this earlier. So my theory, not really knowing anything about this, I always assumed, because I heard people joke about how Nanette was about rape.
Yeah. I
always assumed that Nanette, the punchline, or not punchline, but the reveal is going to be that it's called Nanette because Nanette was Hannah's like alt self, like her happy place basically she went to when she got raped. And she's like, and Hannah had to become Nanette. No, early on, she's like, I called this Nanette because I heard that name. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. And then she rambles about nothing for about 40 minutes. And then she screams at Pablo Picasso's ghost for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then she, almost crying, reveals that she's been raped multiple times. By the way, Hannah, me too. #me too.
I got super ambushed. I can't really believe that this won the amount of awards that it did.
Yeah.
It seems extremely manipulative in the sense of just, I need an award, so I want to say that I got raped.
Yeah.
And also that I'm Elizabeth.
We live in what's called a patriarchy. I don't think she says that word, but most of Nanette is this Aussie lesbian making like Snapple cap jokes about white men running the world. And then the audience doesn't laugh. And then she makes like crazy Jonah Hill, like Percocet autistic eyes at them. And they go, oh, wait, never mind. This is a clapter moment. This is a clapter moment. Of the applause, of which there isn't even that much, it's like 80% clapter, 20% laugh of recognition, 0% laughter from any kind of surprise or clever observation, innuendo, wordplay. There's really nothing in all of all the things you can do as a comedian to elicit laughter. Hannah doesn't do any of them.
I mean, the outline basically of her jokes is like, she's like, so I was growing up in Tasmania and I was surrounded by men, and it's like, yeah, clap, because, and as you know, men are scary. It's like, yeah. What the fuck? I was beside myself. I was ripping my foreskin off, which I don't even have. I glued it back on and ripped it off. I think this might be one of the worst comedy specials I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen some bad shit.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some really bad shit. This is worse than Brendan Schaub. This is worse than Brian Callen. Hannah Gadsby, the unstoppable Foyd. She is quite the woman.
Bow-legged.
She is literally bow-legged.
Dressed like Hillary Clinton, but blue.
And this was, 2019?
Yeah.
And she talks about Orange Individual. She talks about getting super raped, which is... Okay.
Okay, dude.
She talks about Pablo Picasso dating... Oh, by the way, this was something that Caleb and I had to pause and discuss. Because she says, Pablo Picasso, he dated an underage woman. You're like, okay, well, that's a lot because I know about art history. I mentioned to Caleb, I said, okay, Paul Gauguin went to French Polynesia, also known as Tahiti, and super raped, like, really underage women. That is an actual fact that he admitted to. Yeah. So I said, okay, Pablo, I don't know a lot about him. I know Midnight in Paris. I know Marianne Cotillard is kind of an amalgamation of some women. She's not like a real character exactly. But what are you talking about? And she's like, Pablo had sex with a 17-year-old girl? And I'm like, oh, okay.
A literal child.
A literal fucking baby. And I just had to say, Pablo Picasso, by the way, people think he died like 200 years ago. He died in the 1970s.
Yeah, 73, right?
73, I think I said. I don't know if that's right, but I said it like a lot tonight. Yeah. He died like when our parents were alive. Our parents were in school and said, they announced on the intercom, Picasso died. And they said, oh, really?
The way that your aunt was the same age when Hitler died, our parents were that age when Picasso died.
That is true.
Actually true.
That is actually true.
Yes.
She just makes up lies about how it was like a super big problem. And it's like, well, honestly, 17 isn't really that bad because he was 43 at the time. And that is weird. That is twice what she is.
For the era, the time period she's talking about, she's bringing it up like it is supposed to be like a mind-blown moment of like a modern celebrity, basically like Hollywood figure, Weinstein type, literally raping a child. But she's bringing up a artist who at the age she's describing this relationship was, in his 40s. So I guess this must have been like the 1940s or 50s.
Sure.
Having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old. She goes on a rant about cubism. Yeah. She says, Pablo Picasso, I fucking hate Pablo Picasso. And you're like, how did we get on this? What are you saying, Hannah?
Yeah, she goes on to say, like, he made all the cubism. And it's like, first of all, cubism was a period from Picasso. He didn't make cubism. He experimented in cubism, you dumb bitch. It was an era.
It was his era.
And she also talked about Van Gogh, which if anybody knows anything about anything on this podcast, I love Van Gogh. He's my favorite painter. and she just says things that are just like objectively false about him.
She makes, I don't know how the fuck this was connected. I asked you at one point, I'm like, what's the thing? And I don't think you knew either. She goes on for the beginning of the show goes on for a very long time about how she's a lesbian and that lesbians doing comedy is often lesbians making fun of themselves, and how that's not ideal because then because her theory is that self-deprecation is inherently like admitting to someone else that you're inferior to them or something.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, she brings up Van Gogh, and then she mentions yellow flowers and how he was afraid of bleu because bleu is a masculine color.
Blue, yes.
And then she makes some like blue puns that are straight out of like How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, which is really funny because if you know anything about Van Gogh, I mean, one of the things that people say is like, oh, he ingested yellow paint because he thought it would make him happy, which as far as I know is correct. But one of the things that led to like some mental illness was paint at the time was lead based. Mm-hmm. And as we know, with leaded gasoline, it make you crazy, which is why maybe he cut off that ear and gave it to the prostitute and then killed himself. Yeah. It's also really funny to talk about blue because a lot of Van Gogh's works, which by the way, she calls Van Gogh, which a lot of Brits and Aussies do, which is really hilarious because Americans say Van Gogh, Brits and Aussies say Van Gogh. The correct Dutch pronunciation is Van Gogh, but nobody's going to say that because fuck the Dutch, and they all speak English anyway.
Flowers, yellow flower. Blue.
Yellow flowers like sunflowers because yellow equal happy.
Hashtag
she says
me
that
too, Orange Man bad.
Hashtag yes. They say that she says that he was like, blue was like sad or something, but that's not like really 100% true.
When you're melancholy, you're what? Feeling blue?
Yes, she does a stupid like joke, and it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't like put words in the mouth of a guy who was extremely emotionally tortured, and had problems with mental illness, and also didn't have like a rape allegation that would be considered like even statutory in today's time. So I will defend Van Gogh to the death. Of being a man of moral upstanding. I mean, he liked the prose, but that's no problem because you're in France.
I don't, similar to the Wall. I can't believe that I watched these in the same day. That feels like years ago. We watched The Wall. I would just like with The Wall. I was watching it. I don't know what she was saying. I don't understand the Van Gogh connection. She's mentioning blue. She's talking about blue for a long time. And then she goes, and by the way, blue, it's a color just like yellow. Van Gogh. She mentions flowers and Van Gogh, and then she says something about Western art, like the traditions of Western art.
Yes,
she's like, there's some things that y'all should realize because Western art's bullshit it is. And then she just kind of like, I think she forgets her place because she just kind of like looks at the audience with this like Jonah Hill Percocet smile, as I said. Mm-hmm. And then she says, here, I had to write it down. This kind of broke us. We had to rewind this a few times.
Yes.
She says, quote, the history of Western art is men painting women like their flesh faces for their dick flowers.
Now, this made me furious. Like I said in the Woody Allen episode, my mom was the art docent, so I know a lot about Western art.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And also, there are tons of paintings that have women nude and also men nude. And we were talking about Michelangelo's Statue of David. Mm-hmm. That is just a guy who's dick out.
Or the most famous woman painting.
Mona Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
You brought it up. Why did you think about that?
I had to think of what you were saying in the moment. But I was saying stuff with like...
where she's not naked is the point.
Sure.
A woman's face.
I also brought up, if you think about paintings that have women in it, you think of the girl with the pearl earring, which is Vermeer. It's the woman with like the blue head wrap, and she's like blonde. She has the pearl. Like if you've seen it, you'd be like, I know what that is. There are tons of paintings that have women who are not nude. There are tons of paintings that have men and women nude, especially a lot of paintings of like Greek philosophers or people of that time. You have men in togas, men that have their penises out, because it wasn't really a thing of shame at the time like it is now of like you need to cover yourself up. And I wouldn't even really say it's shame. I would say it is a type of mindset more that you should cover your genitals. But back in the times of the Renaissance and a lot of periods that came afterwards, you would have women who are painted with their breasts out, but breasts are not inherently sexual. This is my most feminist stance. Breasts, you make them sexual through actions. They are not inherently
by covering them up, by assigning them the label of nudity.
Exactly. Exactly. This is why the Amish find ankles sexy. Yeah. It's because they cover them up. But I'm joking. I'm half joking, but breasts are sexual by the virtue of men, and in some ways women as well, making them sexual by hiding them from society. And before a certain point, it was completely fine. In a lot of cultures, like when Columbus came to the Americas, he talked about in Hispaniola that they had to avert their eyes because the women had their breasts out. But to them, they were just like, I'm wearing my garb. This means nothing to us. Yeah. I'm having the heavies hanging out.
Yeah. Nanette starts with her doing her like typical I'm gender queer and that weird. Yeah. And then there's a certain point where it kind of switches, I think around halfway through something, where it becomes more like she's not even trying to get the clapter. She just is like giving a sad speech, basically.
A TED Talk.
Yeah, basically. And during the like transitional period where she starts ranting about art and everything and how art is sexist and promotes I don't even know. She's not even saying
misogyny, I think.
Although she's not even using so many words to describe it. She doesn't really make a point. She just like mentions things. During that portion, I remember we were talking for a second. We're like, is there even a piece of art that comes to mind that is considered great? That is considered a part of the Western canon that is of a like really hot naked lady? Not really. The stuff that comes to your mind is not just like Playboy centerfolds,
Yeah.
But she talks as if that's the case, gets the clapter, then starts awkwardly ranting about she does all the things. She talks about the straight white men. She'll reference Trump without saying Trump's name. She goes, "We have a man in the White House who brags about sexual assault." And then the whole audience, which this is done in Australia, by the way, the whole Australian audience is like, "Woo!" And it's like, why do you even care about who is in the White House? Your country isn't.
It's not your president.
Yeah. And then she just kind of finds different ways to say that over and over again for like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around 5:0. I feel like we paused it where she said the thing about the dick vases. Flesh vases for your dick. The history of Western art is men painting women like their flesh vases for dick flowers. That was around 50 minutes in. And she spent the next 20 minutes reiterating how art is sexist and how comedy is bad. Then she says she's retiring from comedy, which she then didn't do.
She super didn't. I also want to think about that phrase that she just said where it's like flesh vases for your dick flowers. Let's break that down. So flesh vases. So men want to put their flowers in the vases. Are you talking about like still life or something? That's one of those things that's like so abstract where it's like, what could you possibly mean? And also all the men you're talking about, like Van Gogh and Picasso, I mean, they did paint women. That famous one of like The Kiss, which I think was beginning of his Cubist era. It's like his most famous in Cubism Picasso painting of like a man and woman kissing. They're fully clothed. And Van Gogh also painted women who are fully clothed a lot of the time. He would paint people around Arles. He would paint Père Letanguet, the postman, and a bunch of other people at the bar that he frequented, the restaurant. And they were the madams. They were everybody. He would never be like, hey, take your fucking titties out, bitch. He'd be like, I'm going to paint you. And they'd be like, well, you paid for an hour. And he'd be like, yes, my brother's Theo is paying for all this because he's selling my paintings in Paris. Yeah. So this is one of the things that triggered me because I know, like, I really do hate when you watch a movie or like any type of media where the person presents something as fact that is so clearly wrong. Like, to misinterpret Van Gogh, my favorite artist, for me, is sacrilegious. Where he's one of those people where it's like, you shouldn't portray him as, like, a pervert or pedophile, because he really wasn't. I mean, he, like, at a certain point was like, oh, Japanese art is really cool. I'm going to do woodblock paintings.
Yeah.
And I'm getting too far in the weeds here. But
she brings up a metaphor about Picasso, not a metaphor about him, but a metaphor that he said, a quote he said, it's a metaphor for like moving on from relationships, about burning women And she's like, he was a sexist. He suffered from that disease. And the audience is cheering. And we're like, what is she actually saying? It's clear that she doesn't, it's not like she did research and came to a conclusion. This is a very Michael Moore, like, I've decided I hate artists who are men, so I will do whatever I can to just paint them as if they were like groypers.
Yes, she specifically misunderstands an idiomatic expression because Picasso says something like, once you're done with a woman, you have to burn her. And what that means in English as an idiomatic expression is like burn them is like basically get rid of them, go through, never refer to them again. But she thought he literally meant you need to like burn them like physically with fire.
Yes.
And it's so funny because it's like, how can you just be like so just wrong?
Not to purge the memory or connection with certain objects or experiences you shared with that woman, to purge that, to become anew like a phoenix from the ashes, but to literally murder a woman. And she goes, can you believe that men celebrated that? And the Australians just they're like, I guess that is what happened. You're right.
Crazy.
Oh my God,
That's
it's Nanette.
crazy.
By the way, Nanette, she claims she was abused as a young child, which now I didn't know this. I don't know where I got the idea that there was rape mentioned. I've heard that somewhere. I can't say where.
Me too.
She mentions she was abused as a child. And when it happened, I was like, oh my God. Because like 20 minutes before that, I was like, what if she hasn't mentioned her dad once? She's mentioned her mom multiple times. What if she mentions her dad abused her? Now, she didn't say who did it in this special, at least, but she mentions abuse as a child. I believe that. She's fucked up. But she mentions being raped in her 20s twice. And I mean, Hannah, I know you're in your like 30s or 40s at the time of filming this, but I can't imagine 20s was that different.
I mean, once is a fluke, but multiple times?
Yeah, once, shame on you.
You have to be putting yourself out there in precarious situations, like promising young woman, and then just like failing to do anything.
Bow-legged, blue-wearing Hillary Clinton with a BMI of 45. I don't know if there's two rapes happening. I believe you, and I side with you. I'm a feminist. I'm a male feminist, but I have a hard time. Here's the thing. I asked Nick the same question, and I won't tell you guys what Nick's answer was. I'll keep that private. But I asked him a question at one point. I said, Nick, if you were trying to rape, would you be able to keep an erection for more than a few seconds with this thing in front of you? Now, he said what he said, and that's for him to share if he ever does. But I pose the same question to all of you. Google Hannah Gadsby and ask yourself, okay, can I keep it up for at least half a minute? It takes at least half a minute to finish rape. I'm just saying, start to finish, even if you're quick, 30 seconds, you need a minimum.
If you're one pump champion.
Now, Nanette Gadsby, not a looker. No. Not a sounder. No. Now, if you're into fear, okay, you hold a knife to her throat. Sure.
Oh my God.
I could get into that.
Okay.
Nanette, at one point you said, you're like, we better be like at least 15 minutes in. Paused it. We were like 8:20.
Yes, we were half of what I thought it was. And I was like, wait, hold on. By the time we paused the wall for the first time, we were halfway through. And I said, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That is better than I thought it was.
And when you said we must be at least 15 in both of our minds, we're both thinking, oh, at least 15, but like hopefully it's like 20, maybe even 25. It's like 8 minutes. Like, no.
This, like I said earlier, probably has to be the worst comedy special I've seen.
Yeah.
In the fact that it is like borderline just offensive to the senses.
It's stupid. It's not that it's not our style of comedy. It's not really comedy. It is quite literally clapter for 90%. It's just, I'm saying a thing that you should agree with and you will clap because you do not want to be the person who isn't clapping and saying, yes, you're right about the political, not even really political, more just kind of feminist statement, just like general feminist statements she's making. Yeah. That's almost all of it. It's not entertaining. And Hannah didn't really do a good job even disguising the speechifying as comedy. She says at one point, she's like, I'm quitting stand. That's the last joke you're getting tonight. That's like 45 minutes in. Yeah. And then she rambles for like fucking 40 minutes.
And gets more jokes. Yeah.
But even before that point, it still wasn't that funny, Hannah. You really weren't actually making any observations. You were just doing the Conan. She does so many Conan ticks throughout this.
Yeah, where she
talking.
Yeah, she doesn't have like we mentioned it in a previous episode, but she doesn't have the confidence to let a joke land, and it's that thing of like she says something that's supposed to be awkward, and she'll go and then people laugh as she does that. I hate that. It's one of my pet peeves. Yeah. Some people can tolerate that, but that's one of the things where I'm just like, you are just really bad at what you do.
Yeah.
And I really don't have a respect for stand-up as an art. I think it's pretty low on my list of things that really require talent. And even the best people, I think, are just like, you're better as like a situational comic. Like, Steve Martin, I think, is better in movies than doing stand-up, even though he is funny. But I don't respect what he does on stage or like Martin Short or anything like that.
You don't like the King Tut song, dude?
No. No.
Oh, by the way, Hannah, at one point, she gesticulates. I don't know if that's even the word for it. She makes a gesture like she's like whipping out one of her tits and squeezing it like or something to like be sexy.
Oh.
And it was one of the most like my penis is inverted moments of my entire life.
Oh, I got recircumcised. That's so fucked up. Yeah. When you said gesticulate, that reminds me of like Jabba the Hutt for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But Hannah Gadsby does look like Bounty Hunter Leia is about to raid her compound.
Yes.
But Slave Leia is choking her because I know what happened.
She's talking about being raped, and it's like, dude, but that fupa, really?
No, that has to be a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It has to be a thing of like, because rapists are probably opportunistic where they're just like, well, you'll do. But if she has like a defense mechanism like caltrops by her pussy, they'd probably be like, oh, I'm not gonna rape this fucking this big loaf of bread. Kiiinda Gadsby. My dick can't get hard for this big sack of shit.
I was actually shocked at how basic it was. While watching it, I was like, wait, this can't be all it is. Mm-hmm. It is just her making like 2014 Reddit humor with the edges sanded off. And that's edges of Reddit humor, which is already edgeless.
Yes.
So I didn't really learn anything. I didn't get anything. I didn't get any insight. It's not funny bad. It is funny to make fun of. She says at one point, she's like, Pablo Picasso raped 17-year-old, a literal child. She was saying she was in her prime. She was not. No 17-year-olds ever in their prime. And then this like 40-year-old fucking run-through hag lesbian just goes, I am in my prime.
Yeah,
your audience cheers.
She has an episode right there where she goes, oh, I'm in my prime. And it's like, no, you really aren't actually. I mean, objectively, it's like I feel like a woman's worth does not decrease the older she gets. You have worth as a human being. Yeah. But the fact that Nanette is just so headstrong that she's just like, actually, I'm in my prime right now because I'm at the Sydney Opera House. It's like, no, you're just a fat bitch.
Yeah.
And her, like, so busted.
Terrible.
Ah, God. I mean, if you're going to be a lesbian, at least be a looker. I can't stand a butch bitch. I don't like that anymore.
No.
I can't deal with that. You can be a tomboy. That's fine.
Calling Hannah Gadsby a tomboy is like the biggest just like F you to tomboy. Because when you meet a tomboy who's like an actual girl, you're like, oh, okay, you have the stuff.
Oh, a woman who's interesting.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you see Hannah Gadsby, you say, well, actually, I can't even say that.
She's more butch than tomboy. If you had to put a label on it. But she's just like fat and ugly.
She's very hung up. Now, this special came out. She's like, I'm a proud lesbian. I'm not transgender. One of her jokes, not even a joke really, but early on, she's like, my agent was like, you should come out as transgender as a career pivot. She then did that like 2 years later, by the way. But she looks very masculine. I guess as masculine as she can. She has like a male haircut. She's dressed in a blazer, whatever. If you were squinting your eyes or if you were Chinese, you'd look at her and say, oh, that must be a guy. But then she's making many references throughout of like, and I'm not a man. And every time someone sees me, I say, oh, interesting. You think a woman can't look like, it's like, Hannah, you're trying to look like a man.
Mm.
So she doesn't know who she is or what she is.
She's super.
She blames everything on her ADHD. She says she's autistic. I believe it with the eyes. But she's a bad comedian. She should have retired before doing this.
Her special interest is getting raped. So I believe that she's autistic.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can we really say? It's bad comedy. It isn't structured well. The jokes don't really have setups and payoffs that are satisfying.
Nick, she does teach us the essence of humor. She at one point goes, stories have 3 parts, a beginning, middle, and end. Jokes have 2 parts, beginning, middle. You create tension, I'll release the tension, and then you all laugh. And it's like, no.
No, it's not actually
Humor is
true.
actually just making somebody like laugh. There's actually many ways to do it if you have a brain.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it can be like the Rodney Dangerfield thing of like, I get no respect, where it's like, set up and pay off immediately. It's like, or you can have like an actual structure, rule of third or threes and all that stuff and go on, or you can have
meta humor
and all that stuff.
You're a character of yourself.
You can be ironic and all that, and people understand that thing. It's really funny to see somebody who thinks that she has respect for the craft of comedy, but also like just doesn't, compared to us who have no respect for the craft. And it's really funny to see a woman who's trying to like grandstand on this thing.
I am in my prime. I know what I'm doing. A stand-up comedy. It's like, okay.
It's like she was definitely doing it for like an Emmy or whatever.
Emmy.
Grammy.
Yeah.
No, Grammy's music. Yeah.
She would have been actually burned at the stake if she wasn't doing comedy. If this notion came to her at any point in history prior to the time she made this thing, she would have been burned at the stake. And she would have said, I was sexist because, old women were like what you were saying about this idea that she has and people have about like, where they basically talk about the history of being a woman as like, well, you were like an oppressed slave. Suddenly you were kind of a citizen and had like, you had a brain all of a sudden.
Yes, I told Caleb this. I really do hate this notion that like after second wave feminism in the 60s, that was when women had any value in society. It's like, no, if you even read the Bible, there are men that love their wives and were devoted husbands. Yeah. And like even Jesus talks about like, being, a good husband to your wife, if you even want to go down that route. But even if you're going to go down in an agnostic sense, you can look at people in history of like, I want to be a good husband. I want to love my wife. I want to create a family that loves me.
Yeah.
And all the people who are bastards are outliers.
Yeah.
They're exceptions that prove the rule. And I really do hate this notion. I mean, it's like there were famous women in history. I mean, if Napoleon loved his wife. Famously, you can read the letters between him and I forget what her name is. Josephine, yes, thank you.
Don't wash, he
would say, which, true. You're a real baller for that. But women throughout history have been respected. In Islam and Christianity, Mary is the most holy woman.
Yes.
Makes sense. What else can I say about that?
Unlike Nanette's point of view, that women were basically just that women that they were goy women. The goyim. How do I portmanteau this? They were
goy wiggers.
And Hannah Gadsby looks like a literal farm animal.
She does.
We mentioned the leather special earlier. Like, I thought the leather special was bad. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the low. Yeah. Nanette is worse.
Nanette
in comedy terms.
Hannah Gadsby looks like a literal barnyard animal compared to Amy Schumer's pussy, which smells like it.
Right, and
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is the reason why Netflix doesn't have star ratings anymore.
That's just like Mandalay Bay, where it's like, well, actually, I lived through this and I saw what happened, but the narrative's like, well, actually, it was
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Same with the Netflix knock, where they say it's not House of Cards, but it really is. Hannah Gadsby deserves.
She's in her prime, dude. Nanette. I call it Nanette.
I call it Nanette.
Nick, why do we sound better now?
I don't know.
It's kind of weird. We sound like of a higher quality than we did previously talking about Content Ambush. But Nick, I have a feeling like I want to go get McDonald's. What about you?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm safe to drive? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have your breathalyzer?
Yeah.
Okay, what if we do that? Wait, before we use the breathalyzer, before we do that, I want to give a shout out.
Okay.
Because we have increasing audience share, however you put it. Oh, yeah. And I want to say thank you. So we have some new listeners. We have listener in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
We have one in Vancouver, BC. We have one in Nashville. Chet Hanks, if that's you, reach out.
I might know who it is, though.
Oh, really? So it's not Chet?
We might need to censor this, but there is a person that you who is in Nashville.
Oh, there is a person. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
I feel sorry. I feel kind of bad messing with you.
Hey, we're bros. We hung out and I taught you how to actually, you owe me. Okay. We have a listener, first-time listener in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have first-time listener in Westwood, Ohio. We have a first-time listener in Virginia Beach. Pusha T, if that's you, give me a sign. Here's the thing. Pusha T, if you're listening to the podcast, because I know you live in Virginia Beach, or you're from Virginia Beach, you live in Virginia. I know that. Okay. If you are our listener, release a song at some point where a word starts with C. If you did that, that's how I'll know. That's the smoke signal. We also have one in Spain. We have some Oh, wait. I can't do that. Damn it.
You can't do that as a suffix. Yeah.
We have some Columbiggers. I can say that.
You can.
Yep. We have a first-time listener in Baghdad. I'm guessing that's someone listening to the Gelman episode.
Nice.
I want to say something. You can corroborate this. When we did our Gelman episode, when that came out, we had so many listens in the Middle East.
Yes, we genuinely did.
For some fucking reason.
We genuinely did. We have a guy like consistently listening in Uzbekistan.
Yes.
And I have to say, the Uzbeks, I fuck with them.
We fuck with you. I didn't know you guys spoke English. Do you think they use like a translate? How do you listen to a podcast in another language if you don't speak the language? Do you think that's some kind of tool you can use? Or do they speak English?
There might be like an AI like auto translate thing, because I know YouTube does a thing of like if they have a transcript, it can sometimes. I don't know if it does it on our videos. Auto translate into that. Maybe. But then sometimes they might just speak English.
However you're enjoying the show, I'm glad you're listening. That guy, he has been listening. It has to be a guy. Has been listening. We appreciate it. We also had a first-time listener in Giza, Egypt. Oh. Got to climb the pyramid to get a signal out there. Am I right? We have a Pakistagger. Destroy India with kindness.
I agree.
Pakistan. We also have we have more Indian listeners than Pakistan.
So destroy Pakistan. We're playing both sides.
We have new listens in Nagpur, Chennai, Indore, Delhi, and Dehodara.
Oh, Dehodara.
Just kidding. With kindness. We also have a listener in Bangladesh. Mm-hmm. We have a listener in Bangladesh. Do you know what this means to me, Nicholas? Bangladeshian, I'm not going to expect you to subscribe to the Patreon because that's $5 a month and that's half your salary, apparently.
It's a lot of money.
According to Werner Herzog. We have a new listener in Malaysia.
Okay.
And then in the last month, we've had repeat listens in Mongolia, Germany, Brazil, Mexico, Costa Rica, Venezuela, Argentina, Chile, Bolivia, and Canada. So basically the entire Americas. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys, genuinely. We had a huge influx in Vietnam. There was a week where literally the most out of any specific country, it was more than the US downloads in Vietnam. It was like a third of total downloads.
And I looked at there's a little thing that can track if bots are listening. And I was like, oh, this has got to be like 30% bot at least. And it was like 2% bots. So it was actually the lowest amount of bots ever because it's usually floating between like 5 and 10%. Yeah. So it's like, okay, maybe that one guy in Japan, maybe that was a bot. Yeah. No, there was just like a ton of people in Vietnam. We had some Vietnamese listening.
It was all over. It was in the north, it was the south, it was in Saigon,
across
it was
the country.
Hanoi,
and that was the Who Took Johnny. That was the week Who Took Johnny came out.
Yeah, exactly.
So they clearly were searching about missing boys. And then they dropped off. They did not listen after that.
Interesting. You know what? I fuck with the Vietnamese heavy. I'll put that out there.
Come back.
We'll make who do the Vietnamese hate? Guys, I promise, my Vigas, we will make fun of the Chinese more so you guys can listen to this and play this out loud in your Beats pill.
We've never had a listen in China.
Ooh, that's true.
We've never had there are a couple large places. Like we've had one listener in Australia like a couple times. Mm. We had one listener in Russia once, just like in Chernobyl. It was like very weird.
In the exclusion zone.
And I'm like, okay, that's got to be a VPN throwing off his location.
Sure.
Because there's no way. But China, like just all of China and North and South Korea, well, North obviously, but China and the Koreas, no listeners ever. Huh. So they're not getting the message.
Yeah, we had a Japanese.
We had a Japanese.
So we had that. So Korea and China, we can close the door to those markets.
Yeah. It's weird. All of the countries that like obviously speak English listen to us the least.
Funny.
We have like 2 listeners in Canada every now and then, like not even regular. Yeah. In England, we've had a couple of times, And in the United States, obviously. But we're also branching out in the US. We've had listeners in Florida. We've had listeners in all of the states that I've been to. So they might be people I've met, but I don't think so. A lot of places where I don't have any family.
All your ex-girlfriends.
I don't think you know anyone in Pensacola, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so those are people finding the show. So, guys, get on the Patreon.
Yes.
We can see you're enjoying the show. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I'm telling you, you pay the $5 a month, you get double show.
Yes.
You get 2 episodes every week. It's not like this is the regular show, and when you go to the Patreon, then it's us being like, what's your favorite color? No, we have disease movies.
More the same.
We have Director Roulette. We have Ramble episodes. Most of our Ramble episodes are on the premium feed, where we're talking about some interesting topics.
Some individuals.
We got the Promising Young Woman, one of my favorite episode endings ever. We have Ethics in Games Journalism, probably my favorite episode ever.
Mine too. I love that.
Come on, guys. Get on the premium feeds, $5 a month, patreon.com.
If you are an international listener, if you're not in the U.S., even if you are in the U.S. And we don't know you personally, please just write into the email or on Instagram. Just tell us where you're listening from. We would like to know if we are reaching you, if you're not
Tell
a bot.
us about it. We won't dox you.
Genuinely, we just want to say what's up. We want you to do that. We want people to reach out. You're not bothering us by sending us an email that says, "Hello, I am older brother from Pakistan. I hate."
In fact, that will become instant friends.
Yes.
We will immediately respond.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're not bothering us. And also, you don't have to. We make edgy jokes and stuff, but we're nice, normal people. We're not going to dox you. We're not going to fuck with you. We want to hear from you. Yes. If you enjoy the show, please write in to yourolderbrothers@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. Request episodes. Honestly, like we've honored the requests we've gotten thus far. And we've taken ideas from people who suggest them. So if you're like, oh, I like this show, but I wish they'd do blank, write in and tell us.
Instagram and TikTok is Your Older Brothers Podcast. On X, it is You Are Older Brothers. Patreon.com/Your Older Brothers if you'd like to get double the episodes that you are getting right now for only $5 a month.
Nick, where's your breathalyzer?
Oh, no, I need to get it.
Okay.
Do the breathalyzer right now. Do you fuck it up? Okay, stop. All right, Caleb did my breathalyzer. Backtrack it. It cost $40. What does it say?
0.069 on legal to drive.
Oh, McDaniel. Okay, guys. This is binding. If the cop pulls you over, he is lying and also Chinese.
Yes, I am in my prime.
Yes, you are in your prime, and we get McDaniel's.